Hi, I'm Mark Fournier, and today we're going beyond fear. Most of us would give anything to conquer fear, and yet few ever even take the time to understand it, much less conquer it. But today, I'm going to show you how to do just that, because fear is mostly a state of mind, and your mind is the one thing you truly have control over. Now, there are two primary kinds of fear. There's the kind that you experience when your nervous system reacts to an unexpected threat, like a dog jumping out of a bush behind you to sink its teeth into your dignity. But that kind of fear really ever happens because we aren't attacked by dogs on a regular basis, much less grizzly bears or all the other things that could make us jump unexpectedly. About 99% of the fear that we experience is the second kind of fear. It's the fear that has the greatest impact on our lives, on our quality of life and on the choices we make and so on. And that kind of fear is mostly avoidable, which is the reason why we really want to talk about that, because we can have an impact on that fear. This second fear, it's that, it's that insidious sinking feeling that we get that keeps us up in the middle of the night, that fear that keeps us, holds us back and keeps us from taking risks, the kind of risks that we need to take in order to grow and become better at whatever it is that we're striving for. That is the fear that eats away at our peace of mind. And that fear is really mostly a state of mind. So the thing that you're afraid of, really, it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be almost anything: losing your job or getting sick or the fear of missing out. But it doesn't matter as much what you're afraid of, because that's not why you're afraid. You're afraid because of these two simple things. One is you're not living in the moment. Fear is about the future. Think about this. You've never been afraid of the past. You can't be afraid of something that's already happened. And so, aside from having a snake jump out at you, nearly every single time that you experience fear, it's because of focusing on something that may or may not even happen in the future. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we call this fortune telling. And we remind our clients that since they can't predict the future and we only have limited control over the future, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that we'd spend a whole lot of time focusing on events that may or may not ever happen, and that maybe sound easier said than done to just let that go. But it's easier when you consider or apply the second cause of fear, which is that you're probably imagining the worst case scenario. And we have a word for that in cognitive behavioral therapy as well, and it's called catastrophizing. And it's means exactly what it sounds like. It's when you take the worst case scenario, or you look at something that may happen and you imagine this catastrophic outcome. And the problem with catastrophizing is that things usually don't turn out all that badly. And even when they do, we usually overcome them in many, many cases, and this is really important. We actually grow from them and improve. So most of our suffering isn't from the thing that we're afraid of happening. It's from the act of being afraid of them happening. The solution, of course, it's simple, although perhaps not easy. It's definitely something that you can do. And with practice, you can master this process. And when you do, it's guaranteed to reduce your stress, your anxiety, and to improve the quality of your life. So here they are, 2 simple steps. Stay in the moment. Whenever you feel yourself slipping into fear, stop for a moment and see what's happening and shift your focus to the present. Think about the things in your life that you appreciate, the things that you love, the things that cause you joy, and start to focus on those things, because we can only focus on one thing at a time. And so focus on the things that cause the opposite sensation or feeling of fear. And while you're doing this, this sets you up for the second step, and that is to remind yourself that fear is a state of mind, that it can be controlled by controlling the thoughts that cause that fear. And while you're doing that, replace your catastrophic, worst case scenario thoughts with the exact opposite. Replace them with best case scenario. Instead of thinking to yourself, well, oh my gosh, this could happen, or what if that happened? What about the opposite? Well, this could happen too. What if everything turns out on the positive side? What is the best case possibility? And imagine focusing on that in replace of focusing on the dark case. Remembering once again that you can only focus on one thing at a time. So it only seems fair, by the way, that if you're going to spend some time thinking about worst case, that you owe it to yourself to at least spend as much time thinking about the best case scenario. And remember this, most of our greatest gains in life, the things of which we are the most proud, the things that helped us grow and become who we are today, those usually started out doing something or having something happen that at the time seemed bad or too difficult, but it turned out to be a blessing. In other words, everything always works out. Not only because our greatest gains in life are usually the result of overcoming obstacles or something that we were once afraid of, but also because you have the final say, the final word. You get to make the next move. It's always your last move or your next move. And so as long as you keep moving, you can ultimately turn virtually anything that you're afraid of into an advantage. Just knowing this can make it easier to move beyond fear by reminding yourself that even if the things that you're afraid of do happen, chances are you'll eventually overcome them and grow from them, and even end up better off than you were before they ever happened. So if you think about that, in other words, there's no such thing as a worst case scenario. At best, it's only a temporary worst case, because it's only a worst case until you turn it into something better. I'm Mark Fournier. Create a great day.